Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Samwise from Lord of the Rings by special request. And for colors, let's start with that. You're going to need skin tone for the feet, hands, and face. I'm using the darker skin tone from the mixed skin tone set, but almost any will do. For the cape, you can use gray or brown. I used gray in my original, and I'm going to show you how to make it today using the dark brown. You can use white or a cream or a clear for the shirt, and you'll need that for the sleeves as well. And I'm putting a little bit of caramel in to sort of show his band, his suspender, the piece that he's carrying. I think that's most of it. The pants, I'll be using the dark brown as well, and the hair is a pale orange, dark orange, or yellow if you don't have this. For the eyes, I used, and I'll be using again, a couple of small blue beads. I'll show you how to thread those on, and if you'd like to use bands, all you would do is take your band, when we come to that point, wrap it 3 times around the hook, repeat, and pull both onto the skin tone. I'll go over that again for you later if you need. So let's start with our arms, and we have kind of thick arms, thick hands. We need 2 skin tone bands. We're going to wrap them together over the hook 2 times, 3 if you want it tighter. Now we're going to use sets of 3 bands at a time, 7 sets of 3 of our shirt color. If this is too much or too hard for you, you can leave it at 2. This will make it look a little thicker. So our bands go on the end of the hook, and we're going to pull, oops, last one there. We're going to pull our wrapped skin tone bands right on top. We'll keep it loose at that time. Here is one set. Two sets. 3. Remember, we're using 3 bands each and every time. 4. 5, 6, and 7. And we're going to make a second arm, and then we'll move to the loom. So you can leave this here where it is on your hook. Push it over just a little though. And we need 2 more skin tone bands to start our next arm. Wrap them twice. As I said, you can do it 3 times if you want it a little tighter. And once more, we need 7 sets of triple of 3 shirt colored bands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Leave these here and grab your loom. We have it in the offset configuration, middle row just above the other 2. And I've started it here. I'll show you what I've done, and then we'll continue together. We have 2 skin tone bands coming down from the neck, from the top center to the second center. And then take the color that you're using for your cape, whether it's gray or brown. Take double bands, come from the second center to the second left, second center to the second right. Now it is optional. If you don't want this caramel, you can stick to double whites. If you do want it, then what you'll do is come down the center with a single white and a single caramel on top. On the other side, a single white, I'll turn this around so you can see better, a single white and a single caramel on top. Repeat that below. And then what I've done is I've made just one more coming from the third center, stretch down to the fourth right, a single white and a single caramel on top. So there are 2 bands on each of these groupings here, but we're switching the color. Now we're going to go to white only, and using doubles we come down 5 times on the left side, from the second to the third, double bands, third to the fourth, fourth to the fifth, 2 more times. This takes you to your 7th peg down on the left side. On the right side, we're going to come down 3 times until we're at that same peg on our right. And in the middle, we come down 4 times, starting at that 3rd peg down. Double whites again. So place it on top. We'll keep going down. And this brings you to the peg just above in the center. Now we switch to brown. We're going to come down with double browns twice in the center. And on either side, we come down 4 times using double brown bands. And I should mention here, if you do want your pants to be a different color, then you'll use that color rather than the brown, but this is what I've got here, what I'm going with. At this point, we're going to switch to the skin tone because we want the long hobbit-like feet. So grab 2 skin tone, put them underneath. And one more time, bringing it to the bottom of the loom now. On the right side, 2 sets of double skin tone bands at the bottom here. We can add our arms on the 2nd pegs down on either side. And you'll want to get it so that it's kind of curving upwards if you can. If you don't like the way it looks, you can always take your hook out, put it back from the other side and flip it around. I'm not going to show you that, but it is something you can play around with if you're not happy here. Okay, a direct transfer should get your arms in the right direction, but as I said, you might want to switch depending on how yours came out. We are going to make some feet, and then we can do some extensions, some holding bands, and that will be the bulk of our body there. We're going to take 2 skin tone bands. This is Kate Schultz's boot method. We're wrapping our 2 bands 2 or 3 times. It's up to you how tight, regarding how tight you'd like it to be. Take 2 more bands and pull the wrapped ones over. Replace the other end. We're going to take another 2 bands and wrap them tight again. You can do it 2 times or 3 times. Pull it onto 2 more skin tone bands. And we aren't going to put this side on yet because first we need to bring this closer piece over the top. Get your finger in on this side and remove it from the hook. Put your hook through the other side and switch it around and bring the last side over the top. And then we can put this back. Now, if you want this to be longer than it is, you can add more sets of double bands. I'm pretty happy with this length, so I'm going to put this directly onto the bottommost peg on the side. Pull it out a little bit, and let's make another one for the opposite leg. Two bands wrapped twice. Oh, we did it 3 times on the other side. We'll keep it symmetrical here and keep this one tight too. Pull it onto 2. Put the other end back. Repeat 2 bands. Pulled onto 2 more bands. And bring our close end over. Separate these and get your finger inside. Take this off, switch it around, over, up, and together. This goes on to the right side. Okay, I'm going to show you how to make the chains, and those will make the legs and the upper body just a tiny bit rounder. Otherwise you'll have a very slim figure, which is okay, but this I think fits the character a little better. So we're going to start with our leg chains, and for those we're taking a single brown band. I'm wrapping it twice. And I'm going to be using single bands because I don't want to add too much thickness. I only want a little bit of thickness. So our chain will have 4 single bands on it. Take a single brown, bring your wrapped band over, replace the end. Second single band, take everything off your hook and bring it on top, replace. 3 and 4. The bands that are on your hook will go onto this top brown peg. That's your 7th peg from the bottom of the loom. It's right in the middle, really. And you need to get your hook inside the end wrapped band and pull it down to the 4th peg, or the 3rd peg from the bottom, where the skin tone ends. And this part's a little bit tricky. You need to grab one piece out of each chain, each link in the chain, and pull it over the corresponding peg, and this keeps it from bouncing off to the side and being loose. It keeps it together. We'll do another chain for the other side a little bit faster. A single wrapped twice, pulled onto 4 single brown bands. Top one goes on our top brown in the middle of the loom. Bottom one goes onto our hook here. You want to try to grab all 3 of those loops if you can. And it stretches to where the skin tone begins for the feet. Take one piece out of each section of the chain and pull it over. And we're going to do the exact same thing for the top, except we're using our shirt color now, and we're doing a chain using 5 singles. Take a single, wrap it twice. Pull it onto 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The bottom one is going onto that 7th peg where we put our brown, and the other one is coming off our hook and going onto the 2nd peg from the top. You can put it on in either order as long as you get both of them on. I'll start at the top again. My band's a little bit loose here for some reason. I'm going to give it an extra wrap. We're going in again, grabbing a section out of each chain and pulling it over the peg next to it. And we're going to repeat this all on the right side in 1 second. Single wrapped twice. Okay, I think these are just stretched out bands, that's why it's a little floppy for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Attach it the very same way on the right. Goes on the peg that's holding your arm. Press it down a little bit, get the bottom bands, and put those onto that mid peg. Get a section of each chain and pull it over. We're getting close to our looping point, we're almost there. Now let's get some holding bands. I'm using single bands most of the way so that the body stays loose. So take a single shirt colored band, stretch it from your third peg down to your third peg down and up over the third center. Repeat that below. We need 2 more single white bands. You can actually use white for the next one as well. And then we switch to our pant color, and I'm going to use 2 bands here. We'll make it a little bit, hold together a little bit better. And I'm going to take 1 single band, pant color, double it over onto itself, place it above the 3 in the center here. So this is the last peg that has brown on it. And we're going to stretch this up and over. That will make it a little bit tight. So let's start. I want to start on the right side today, and that way we can bring out this diagonal band towards the top. You're going to reach in under your leg and find these 2 bands which are coming from the peg above. Grab them with the open part of your hook from under the leg and pull them up and over. Get your next 2, move up and over. Now at this point we're only looking for each set of bottom 2 bands. You're pushing back any holding bands, any extension pieces, anything else that's in the way, and only getting the bottom 2. So you can see here I push back and get my bottom 2 and bring them around and up. It's a little bit tight here, so you might want to give a little gentle wiggle as you go. When you reach this 4th peg from the top, remember we have our diagonal band here. So we're going to reach in, push back the triangle band, get that caramel, and get that white band, and bring both of them up to the 3rd peg down in the center. And then we can loop up the rest of the side row. I'm going to loop up the center now. So grab your hook, keep the open part away from you, grab your bottom 2 bands, and bring them up and over the peg above. Next 2 up and over. And we're going to go up until we reach the 2nd peg from the top. We want the cape to show up above everything else. That's why our center white and caramel are going to be first, and that way they'll be covered. Let's loop up the left side. So we're reaching in under the foot, getting the bottom 2 bands and bringing them up and over, just as we did on the other side. Reach in, get your bottom 2, and keep going towards the top. Push back those holding bands, those extension pieces, everything that's in your way. We're going to go straight up and then bring everything inwards from the sides. Sort of a sticky piece there. Okay, we need our cape colored bands. We're going to bring these up through the arm peg bands, the shoulder peg here, and to the center. And on this side we're going for these 2 bands again. And get your hook inside. Oops. Let's pull these to the side to see. We only want the bottom 2 again. And lastly, we need our 2 skin-toned neck bands. Put your hook inside, push the rest back and grab those, pull them up. When you have this, it's ready to take off. You'll put your hook through here, but first let's loosen some of the tension. So I'm taking the back of my hook and easing these off of the pegs. Okay, now we put our hook through and we can take the last little bit off. And our body is pretty well ready. Let's get the head on the loom. Your hair color, I'm using orange. Take 2 bands, bring them from the top center to the top right, 2 from the top center to the top left, and double bands coming down twice on either side. Get your skin tone handy. We're taking 3 sets of double skin tone bands and bringing them down the center. Two skin tone bands from the 3rd left to the 4th center and repeat on the other side. If you want the face to be longer, what you can do, this is just an option here, is you can take the 2 bands on the side, come down 1 more time, and then bring it inwards. So on either side, and then you'd put 1 more down the middle. And that will make the face a little bit longer. I'm going to use a single unfolded, undoubled triangle band, so I'm just stretching it across. If you want the face to be tighter, you can double your band over. Now the last thing we need for our face is our eyes. If you are using bands, I'll show you again. You would take your eye color of band, wrap it 3 times. Take a second one for a second eye, wrap it 3 times, and pull it onto a single skin tone band. This goes from the second peg to the second peg and is pulled over the second in the middle. I'll show you how with the beaded ones. If you have larger beads for your eyes, you're going to do the same thing. Put them onto your hook and pull them off. And if you are using beads with small holes, like a seed bead, or you might have a small pony bead, or even be using a white one, you could take a piece of dental floss or a thin wire, put it through both of your eyes together, thread it through your skin tone band, single band, flip the floss around, and bring it back through the eyes. I think this technique is from Delicious Designs as well. That's Kate Schultz's channel. She has lots of good ideas. Okay, whatever your eyes look like, you're going to put them now, as I said, from your second peg to your second peg. Try and separate the 2 a little bit. I'm going to use my small hook, even though it has the body on it. Sorry if it's blocking. Just going to take me a while to get in here otherwise. I'm slipping my hook in between the eyes, separating the 2 bands, and bringing it over in the center. We're ready to put our body on, so take the neck and place it on the 4th peg down in the middle, everything that's on your hook from the body. I'll stretch this down to the side so you can see it a little bit better. We're going to go underneath the neck, find our top 2 bands, bring them to the side. That doesn't look right. Let's stretch it out and see where these are coming from. Okay, we have a top band here, so we're coming up top and the top. Basically, you want, as usual, to bring your bands back to where they came from. So look at the order in which they fall, and you're going to stop with the 2 on top, and then the next 2, and then the last 2. We can loom straight up the middle twice, come up either side. Push back the holding bands and get your diagonal bands. You're going to reach in and bring these to the center from either side. Take a hair colored band, get it ready on your fingers. We're going to take the hook with the open part pointed away and press it through the bands on the top peg. Latch onto your band, hold it a little tight, pull it up and through, other end on, and then we bring one side over the other to create a slip knot. Okay, give everything an adjustment. We're gonna hide the securing band, and then I'll show you how to make the cape. So your securing band can slip under a couple of the bands in the back and go onto a C-clip. Okay, push your eyes through, give everything an adjustment, and we will make our cape. So we're going back to our loom, and if you want a really thick cape, you can use 2 bands at a time. I'm just using 1 at a time, and I'm going to come down the whole length of the loom on each of the rows. Won't be talking much through this part, there isn't much to say, so you're welcome to fast forward through or just do this along with me in relative quiet here. Middle row, come down all the way. Make sure you're starting from the top each time with the open part of your pegs curved downwards like this. And the last row, we're going to go down again. And then we'll need to extend our cape a little bit, otherwise it'll be way too thin. Now if you like, you can make a side extension for either side the way that we did for the body. And you can use single or double chains, and that would require 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bands pulled onto a single wrapped. I'm going to do something a little different this time. I'm going to place my holding bands and then create a second set on either side, which will work as an extension. I think it looks just a little bit cleaner in this case. So I'm taking single cape colored bands and drawing them across the triangle formation. And we're going to stop right here. And Okay, for the bottom set, we're gonna do a single and pull it up over that middle piece. Now what you need to do is push down all of the bands on either side. You can use your fingers or your hook, either is fine. Because now we will go back to the top of the loom and come down on either side with a second set of single brown bands and try to keep them sort of sitting above the triangle bands. On the right side as well, same thing. And there are two ways you can secure this at the bottom. One is to wrap a single around on either of these. So wrap a single about 3 times, wrap a single 3 times, and then we'll loop out from under. The other thing we can do is take another single and stretch it across the same way we did the first time and bring it up and over. Okay, we are ready to loop up. We're going to start with the sides, and we're only going to go for the top row. So get under your holding cap, grab the next band, which is coming from the peg above, and pull it up. Get your next band, make sure it is not your triangle band, and loop it up. Push back the triangle band, and we're going to go to the top this way. As I said, if you're more comfortable or if this looks overly complicated, you can always use the side extension as we did before. These like to sort of slip under the triangles. That's why we tried to push them down so hard before. Even now. Even now it's being tricky. Oh. Remember, you can always pull a piece to the side if you're not sure where it's coming from here. When you get to the top, just wait a second and we'll do the other side, and then I'll show you the next step. So go through on the other side, get only the band that is coming from the peg above, just the next one. These are the straight bands going straight up. Okay, almost there. This is really the hardest part of it. We're almost in the clear. Now we want to pull this top layer off. So to do that, you're going to put your hook inside and pull it right over to the side. Keep the triangle bands where they are, But reach in and pull this top layer right over. I'm doing this very slowly. I hope it will make it easier for you to see. And then I'll show you, we're actually going to have to put part of this back on because you can see it's stretching loose. We do want it connected. So you can do this now as you're taking them off, or you can do it afterwards, and that is to replace one little piece of each. So just one of each, not all of them. When we're doing the other side, we'll try to do the reverse and we'll take off 3 instead of taking them all off and then putting them the one back. You get the same results regardless. But you might personally find that one way is easier than another for you. So I'll show you both ways. This was taking everything off and putting just the one back on after so it doesn't hang loose. Takes a lot of concentration for this part, doesn't it? Almost there. And the other way we can do this, I'll show you on the other side, is to take off the top 2 and take off one more until we're left with, well, actually only need to take off the top and then we'll be left with 1 from each side. So you might find, as I said, this way might be a little easier to do. And there, I slipped them all off again. Get one back. And pull this one over the side. Okay, let's loop up the center now. And then we'll come back and loop up either side one more time. And the reason I'm doing the center next is because honestly this is just the fastest of the rows. We'll have a break from the hard stuff and do something with fewer obstacles before we tackle the sides again. Although of course you can do this in any order at this point. Now we're coming down, and this time we're looking for the bottommost bands. So come under your extension, come under your triangle, take your bottom band, bring it up and over. And it will be a little loose at the bottom, so give it an extra hold as you go. And go straight to the top now. And back to the bottom, we're going to come up the final row last time. Bottommost band, loop it up and over. Get inside, get your bottom up and over. Push everything back as you go. Now some of you are probably looking at the time that's left on here and wondering what else we have to do. So I'll tell you now, we have one more thing to do after placing this on, and we're getting close to the end. This is a sort of semi-advanced project. So if you've got this far, you're doing great. We are going to take all of the bands off of the pegs and put them onto our hooks. This is from the top peg on the right, the top peg on the center, the top peg on the left. And take it off. It might seem a little bit loose on the bottom. You just need to stretch it out a bit. we need a single band, 2 if you're a nervous loomer or have weak bands, and pull it through everything that is on your hook. This will come around, oh, don't lose that, around the body. And we're going to grab the second side. So I have 1 on either side. If you want it to be a little looser, you can add another band. Maybe we'll do that. Take another one and slide it through both pieces. Okay, we'll pull one through the other. And for the moment, I'm going to ask you to just put this on a C-clip, or you can even leave it as it is. But we want to get our collar piece ready. The collar is this nice wide hooded part that goes around. So for that, we need a single band of the cape color wrapped twice. We're going to pull it over 2 bands, over another 2 bands, and then to make it thicker, we'll bring it over 2 sets of 3 bands. So there are 3 and 3, and then we go over 2 again, so just to recap before we go on, a single wrap twice, pulled over 2, over 2, over 3, over 3, over 2. Now this next part will be in the back, so you won't see it. You can continue doing thick ones if you want. I'm just going to use singles for the next 3. 2 singles, 3 singles, and then we're going to reverse this so that it's even. So we're going to go back to 2 bands, 3 bands, and 3 bands, two bands, and 2 bands. Okay, straighten that out, and this goes right around the neck. And we're going to put our hook through those 3 bands. I think what I'm going to do, since we have this extra piece here from our cape, is we will put that loose band, this is the piece we used to attach the cape, we're going to put this on the end of the hook and carefully pull it through the collar. Now we have only 1 band, and this is a little difficult, but what we want to do to hide it is put our hook through the back from the back of the body, take that single band, that securing band which is holding everything, put it on the end and pull it to the back. And here it can be, this is the back under the cape, here it can be tucked in a little bit and put on a C-clip. So the very last thing, if you want the arms to come through the cape like so, and this is really the reason why, or part of the reason that I used only single bands, because now we have a nice loose section here. You can stretch it out and pop the arm through. Go to the other side, find that loose section, stretch it out, and pop your arm through wherever it's kind of comfortable, a good fit for you. And pull it around. Let's give everything an adjustment, pop the eyes out. And here is your Samwise from Lord of the Rings. I hope you'll check out my Hobbit tutorial, and I thank you for watching.